Okay, let's start from the basics. Describe your hometown and when you were a teenager.
My hometown was Clarkston, Washington.
So is mine.
That's because we're cousins. So. We walked everywhere we went. We walked between Wilson and Clarkston. We didn't have cars when we were younger.
My friends did.
Your friends did. My friends did too, actually. We
Cruise the A&W.
cruised the A&W when we were young, really young. I mean, we didn't have to be entertained with all kinds of things. We just, we would do things at home that we didn't have electronic games or anything like that.
Heck, we hardly had TV.
I remember when we got our first TV, actually. You had TV first.
Oh, did we?
Because we come to your house and watch Disney.
Oh. And my mom would watch Lawrence Welk.
But all we had when I was little was a radio, and we would listen to Howdy Doody on the radio. That was exciting. We got
She's
to
older
tune
than
in.
us before my time.
And the summers were very long because we just didn't have a lot to do and just played. Make believe and whatever. We just,
When you were a teenager?
no. When I was a teenager, I spent a lot of time with my friends, but we just walked all over the town going, we didn't have transportation. So we just walked or rode our bikes or
Okay.
hung out with our friends a lot.
What were some rules around your household when you were growing up?
Couldn't heck with the boyfriend out in front of the house. It wasn't allowed.
Yeah, I had a neighbor lady that would watch me and tell on me too. So
Your boyfriends?
yeah,
What were some of your favorite bands?
the Beatles,
Who's your favorite Beatle?
Paul, and he's still alive, so that's a good thing. Who was your favorite band?
I don't know. I like Three Dog Night, but that was more in college.
Okay.
I had Beatle posters all over my bedroom.
Neil Diamond. I know. I don't like him now.
What was your first job?
My first job was actually working as, it was at we had a semi-pro baseball team in town, and I actually managed the hawkers that went around in the stands and sold popcorn and peanuts and soda. And,
That sounds fun.
yeah, it was fun.
Okay. What did things cost when you were growing up?
Well, we could buy a candy bar for a nickel. I remember that. That was a big deal.
Oh, gas.
Gas was 25 cents and get you a lot of gas.
Gallon.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow. What was the first car you ever had?
Actually, I never had a car until I got married. I just used my dad's. He would let me have it whenever I wanted. He worked across from my school, and I would just go get it, and he'd have to walk home.
What type of car was it?
It was a Chevy. It was a Ford Ranchero. It was a little pickup, small little pickup.
I got a Ford Pinto when I graduated from college. That was my first car.
I remember that.
Red one. Yeah.
But that's when she graduated. We didn't have cars in high school.
Or college.
Did you get your license at like 16?
Absolutely.
I did too. In
Did
fact, my parents thought that they let me go take the test because they didn't think I'd pass, and I did.
Did you have to take like a driving class before?
Uh-huh.
You do now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now these are like time questions. Like, based on the timeline.
Oh.
So, what do you remember about the day Kennedy was killed?
I remember I was in 8th grade, and we were in school, and I was in the Catholic school, and the nuns they sent us home, and we went home, and we had the TV turned on and all the blinds pulled, and we watched TV all day long, and everybody was really sad and really upset. It was a pretty sad day.
I agree.
Okay, and then what do you remember when Martin Luther King Jr. was killed?
I just remember that was, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember when it happened.
It wasn't as outstanding as Kennedy's death
No,
for some reason,
it
even though, I
wasn't.
mean, it was a historical event, but it didn't seem to have the impact as having the president shot to
What ab-
us.
What about his speech? Was that like analyzed during school or anything?
I do not remember that it was.
I don't either.
Did you know anything about Malcolm X?
I remember, but not a whole lot. Nope.
Was that in the 90s? No, no, that was before then.
I think it was at the same around the same time.
Just remember some of the riots that they would show on
Mhm.
television. Yeah, during the 60s.
Oh. Okay, and what do you remember about the day we landed on the moon for the first time?
Well, we were all glued to the TV. That was for sure. That was a big thing. Everybody in the United States, I think, was glued to the TV watching that. And just that it was successful, and it was a big accomplishment for the United States as far
About the
as
recent
in
conspiracy
history.
theory that nobody really ever landed on the moon.
Did you watch it take off?
Yes, we
They
did.
really didn't.
We watched it all.
It was faked.
Okay, and so what do you remember about the Challenger when it exploded?
I just remember about the school teacher being on board and what a huge impact that was, and that they didn't know immediately that what had happened. I mean, they saw the flames, and all the school kids were tuned in to watch, and so it was quite a traumatic event across the nation.
Yeah, because it was the first time a teacher,
Yeah,
a
had-
civilian,
civilian
had
had
been
gone
on the space shuttle. So it was a big deal. There was schools all across the country that were tuned into that. And the teacher that would have went in her place if she couldn't have gone was from Idaho.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you remember about the Watergate scandal?
Well, I just remember there was a lot of cover-up. There was a lot of shredding of papers. Nixon was president. Nixon was asked to resign, actually, during all of that. It was a big deal.
So you like the Beatles, right? So how'd
Yeah.
you feel when John Lennon was assassinated?
I felt sad. It was a sad thing, because he was assassinated in New York, I think, on the street. And he was married to Yoko.
Do you like
He
her?
had a son.
You like Yoko Ono?
I didn't really care for her one way or the other. It didn't really matter. I heard a lot of negative things about her, about how controlling she was. But
Just Paul
that
didn't
was
like her?
just all. No, I don't think the rest of the Beatles liked her very well, especially Paul.
Have you ever heard of the Chernobyl nuclear accident?
Yes, that was in Russia.
Where were you when you heard about it and stuff?
I don't know, but it all went off.
It went off? Oh no!
I don't know.
Oh, it's okay. It's still good.
The Chernobyl,
Yeah.
I don't really remember a whole lot. I do remember about that. It was supposed to have killed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the movie that came out, the Chernobyl Diaries?
No.
Oh, well, they think like there's mutant people still living in the factories and stuff.
Oh, really? That'd be interesting.
Yeah. And so last question: where were you when you heard of 9/11?
I was at home in my living room with the TV was on.
I was still in bed before I got up that morning. What amazed us is they hadn't figured out that the second attack was, they thought it was just another plane. They didn't realize what was going, the announcers did not realize what was happening on the television.
Yeah, they didn't because I even saw the second plane on TV hit the towers, and we thought it was just an accident. How could two things have happened like that simultaneously? You know, it was. Yeah, they didn't know what was going on.
And they still replay where they told Bush, and he was with, again, all the little school kids. I don't know if you've seen that. So he was at a school, I forget where, but he was in a classroom with all these, maybe, I don't know, 8-year-old kids, and they had to go up and whisper in his ear in front of the kids that, you know, the country was under attack and they needed to get him out of there. And he just kind of, okay, you know, and then he turned back to the kids and kind of calmly finished up. You would not have known what had just transpired by the expression on his face. It was pretty amazing.
Well, I don't remember any of it. I think I was kind of young.
Yeah. But yeah, so he then, you know, then they took him away and had to have to a secure location because they didn't know with all the attacks, you know, if they were out to get him as well.
Okay.
That's what I remember anyway. And
Yes, it was unbelievable. Actually, that it was happening was unbelievable.
well, even the firefighters, the first responders, didn't realize what was going on, you know, or they would never have gone in the building. And
Did you know anybody in New York at the time?
No.
I know Starbucks had people there, but I didn't personally know them. But they survived. They weren't a part of it.
Oh.
Just from a work perspective.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.